Welcome to Pet Pals, the show that features the animals of Frederick County Animal Control and Adoption Center. I'm Sean Snyder, and with me is Randy, and on Randy's lap is Pooh Bear. Pooh Bear is a dog that is currently living in foster care. His foster mother has affectionately renamed him Bear Bear because she didn't want the negative connotation of Pooh Bear. So he's currently going by Bear Bear. He went into a foster home because he is a little shy in the shelter. And that happens often with dogs when they come into this environment, especially if they've never been kenneled or lived in that type of environment. So right now he's living with a foster family, and our foster family has reported that he loves the company of other dogs. So we hope that we find a home that has other dogs so that he can share that love and enjoy the company of other canines. He seems to also like kids as well. His previous family indicated that he lived with kids that were 6, 7, 9, 12, and 14. And he is also an active dog. So right now, looking at him, he doesn't appear to be that way on Randy's lap, but he is a dog that enjoys being outside, running around, running with other dogs, playing with kids. So when we have animals in foster care, obviously we get a little different snapshot of how they may live in a home, which is really important. And when we know something like that, we're able to make pairs or matches a little bit better, families to animals. So with all this stuff, all the information we gather, that is shared by a foster family, and they can hopefully find the right home for Bear Bear or any other animal we're fostering. If you're a person interested in foster care, you can of course contact the shelter. You fill out a simpler application. We find out what you're interested in fostering, and it obviously helps the shelter, but also the animals that come in that maybe don't adjust quite as easily, or maybe animals that are underage. If you're interested in Bear Bear, since he is living with his foster family, it's very important that you contact us before you just arrive at the shelter. You can call us, you can send us an email, but we want to ensure that he's here so you can visit with him. Once again, his name is Bear Bear. He's a little Maltese. He's about 6 years old, and he is a male. Our next canine guest is Herb. Herb is a Jack Russell Terrier, purebred. He's a wire hair, and he has the longer legs, and he's between 5 and 6 years old. Now, everything about Herb screams big dog, big personality, except his size. Jack Russells can have a big dog personality. 5 to 6 is not slowing him down. That's his age. He is still full of energy. He still wants to go out and hunt and seek and explore his environment like most Jack Russells do. And I think one of the things people fall into with Jack Russells is, oh, they're a small dog, they're probably easier. But those who have had Jack Russells in the past know that they take a lot of care, they need training, they need people to pay attention to keep them home. Herb arrived at the shelter as a stray, so that is not his real name. That's a name we gave him here. And he actually came in with a female Jack Russell who has been adopted. When animals come in together, what we do is we assess them to see if they're a bonded pair, meaning that they need each other for a good livelihood. Herb and the female he came in with did not seem to need each other for a good livelihood, so they were separated. Herb has been with us since July 13th. He has had a few people interested in him, but what has happened over time is folks have come in and done a meet and greet, meaning they bring their dog in to meet Herb, and it did not go so well. And that is usually because of Herb. So we're not saying he wouldn't do well with another dog, but I think it would take someone who would know canine behavior really well. It would likely take the right dog. So we are actually still searching for a home for Herb. He actually has a little note on his medical as well that says older children or adult home, and that is because Jack Russells can be really intense at times, and they may not deal with little kid shenanigans, like a 2 or 3 year old pulling on his tail, or maybe playing a little too rough with him. I had mentioned he was found as a stray. He was found in Frederick County, but just over the border from Washington County. So when that happens, what we do is obviously we file a lost report with adjoining counties, humane societies, or animal control agencies. And during that time, we're going on 2 months now, no one came forward and reclaimed Herb. So we're still looking for a home for this little guy. Once again, he's a Jack Russell Terrier. He's a wire hair coat. He's 5 to 6 years old, and he's here at the shelter looking for his next family. Our next guest is Shiva. She is a 2-year-old pit bull mix, and we have her down as red and white with a black muzzle. She has that distinct mask look. She actually just celebrated her 2nd birthday. Her birthday was on August 8th. She is here because her owner could no longer keep her, and it appears that where the person was living, the apartment complex did not allow her, and that is because she is a pit bull mix. There are certain apartment complexes that they have breed restrictions, and usually pit bulls fall into that category. Here at our shelter, we have no breed restrictions. We actually behavior assess every dog on our adoption floor. It's a formalized test they need to pass, and no matter the breed, each dog has to pass that test. It can be a Maltese, a Bichon, a Chow, a Pit Bull Terrier, and they all go through the same behavior assessment. If you're a person that needs help finding a place, an apartment complex that allows certain breeds, that's something our agency can help you with. We have a list of breed-friendly apartment complexes throughout Frederick County, and obviously we would love to see people keep their pets. At times it doesn't work out for people and animals in Shiva's case. So her previous owner told us that she does know some skills, and you can see Randy has her sitting, taking treats nicely. They indicated that she knows sit, stay, lay down, go to bed, and eat. So she must know when her food dish is poured. They also said that she lived with kids from newborn to 16. And that she has been around cats. So a lot of times people will come in and they'll look for dogs and they'll say, well, I have a cat and I'm not sure how it'll be. So when people turn their animal in and fill out a profile, that is great information to have. At times people, they're hesitant to fill out the profile or they're in such a rush, and we highly encourage people, take a moment, it'll take you no more than 2 minutes, and give us all the information possible, because obviously if we're rehoming your pet, we want to share information so people can make good decisions for their family and the pet that you previously owned, because we want them to keep that pet forever. It appears her previous owner did keep her for 2 years, and they got her from a friend, so I imagine they got her as a puppy. At this time, she is not spayed. Her adoption fee of $92.50 does include spaying her, microchipping her. We've given her a distemper vaccination. She's had a Bordetella vaccination. It will include a rabies vaccination. It also includes a vet visit, and that is at your vet. Most vets in Frederick County participate in that program, and then also a Frederick County dog license. So that's what $92.50 covers. And of course, a new friend for you as well. So once again, this is Shiva. She's going to make someone a great companion. She's here at the shelter available for adoption. When you come in to visit, you can ask to see Shiva. Our next dog is Riley. Riley is a 6-month-old German Shepherd lab mix. And there was some speculation that because of his coloring, he may have some Irish Setter in there as well. He is 45 pounds now, so he will fill out some more. He'll get a little bit bigger. And he is a dog that needs someone that's willing to spend some time, do some training. He is very active, very young, hyper. However, he does already know some tricks. It appears that he already knows sit, he knows lay down, he knows a trick called both paws, and then they started working with him on rolling over. So this would be a dog that would thrive on some kind of training. At the same time, this will be a dog that could be somewhat chaotic if he is not giving proper training. So obviously we're going to look for a family that has the time, the energy to spend with Riley to make him a good canine citizen. How we accomplish that is we have somewhat of a different process for our puppies, and that's any dog under a year. What we do is we accept 4 applications on our younger dogs, and then the shelter picks who's the best fit. At times people have hurt feelings, but it's not necessarily a slight on them. It's just maybe someone else had previous breed experience. They were able to spend more time at home with the dog, or at times, sometimes with young puppies, it can be where your living situation is. Some dogs are very vocal, and if you live in an apartment or a condo where you have common walls, if you have a young dog that's barking a lot, howling, maybe it wouldn't be the best scenario, and obviously your HOA would make you or ask you to get rid of the dog because it's causing disruption in the building. So Riley was given up because he knocked down kids, and that is somewhat because he is a lot of energy and he needs exercise. It looks like they let him alone each day for about 6 to 8 hours. And I know families are busy, and you come home after those 6 to 8 hours and you have to get dinner ready and you have to get kids to sports and all of those things, and then where's the time for the dog? So we encourage people, if you're looking at a young dog, an old dog, you really need to consider your schedule. Do you have time for a dog? It's important that dogs have time with their family to play and interaction, and when they're younger especially, and we're molding them into the dog we want them to be, it's important that you set aside time for training of that dog. It looks like he already came to us neutered, so that's already taken care of. It looks like they provided him with proper vaccination, so he's up to date on that, and he does have a microchip, so that'll be re-registered. So Riley's a dog that has a great start, and what we'll be looking for is a family that can continue his training and work with him and obviously provide him with what he needs to be a great adult dog. So once again, this is Riley. He's looking at you, and come see him at the shelter. Our next guest is Cedric. He is a Malamute Chow mix, and he's about 5 years old. He came to us on August 11th, and when he first came in, he was actually put on the floor, and what we noticed, the adoption floor that is, and what we noticed was he started coughing some, and sometimes coughing can result in from not being walked on a leash too much, so the restraint, and sometimes it can be a result of a dog getting a cold or kennel cough. So just as a precaution, we actually put him in a room that's out of public view and treated him for kennel cough. So he's been with us for that period of time being treated with kennel cough. He has since displayed no signs of kennel cough or anything like that, but he is back on our adoption floor and ready to find his home. Cedric actually came to us as an owned dog. His owner decided to give him up, and the reason was that he attacked some chickens and killed them, and the landlord where the person was living that owned Cedric said that they needed to get rid of him. So Cedric does have an affinity for chickens, which Malamutes, Chows, certain breeds can have a higher prey drive. So he's a dog obviously if you live on a farm or if you live in an area that maybe has chickens, or possibly if you have cats. Probably not a dog for you. Not saying that he'd attack a cat, but once dogs have that prey drive, anything that's small and runs around, they can want to give chase at times. They indicated that he lived with 3 other dogs when he was younger, but he hadn't been around dogs for a while. So one of the questions we ask is, does he get along with dogs? And they said mostly. So what I would take that as is if you have a dog and you're interested in Cedric, bring your dog here and let the 2 of them meet. We call that a meet and greet. We encourage that for anybody who's considering adopting and already has a dog. We're going to take a short little break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at 5 cats and kittens that are available for adoption at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center.
Help protect the environment and prevent prescription drug misuse by disposing of all your expired and unwanted household medications and prescription drugs safely. The Frederick County Health Department has teamed up with local law enforcement to provide 6 convenient drop-off sites for unwanted medication within the county. Locations include the Frederick Police Department, the Thurmont Police Department, the Frederick County Law Enforcement Center, the Brunswick Police Department, the Middletown Municipal Center, and the 2nd floor of the Emmitsburg Community Center.
back, and now we'll take a look at 5 of the cats available for adoption here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. Our first little girl is Hannah, and Hannah is about 2 to 3 years old. She arrived at the shelter as a stray, and her cat coloring is called Torby, and Torby is tortoiseshell and tabby mixed together. So, like I said, Hannah came to us as a stray. When she came in, she actually had a few kittens with her. I want to say 3 or 4 kittens. And all of her kittens have been adopted. And a common theme this time of year is moms tend to stay behind. And Randy just commented before we started filming how friendly she was. And sometimes what happens is people don't even look at our adult cats. And what I try and encourage people is take a look at them as well, because with our adults, what you see is what you're going to get. This is who the cat is, where you can have a kitten that's playful and, you know, at times sitting on your lap. As they get older, they may become a little more aloof and a little more distant, that they may not prefer to be held. And adults, when they're between 2 or 3 like this, their personality is set, it's stable. So when Hannah actually came in, it looks like on June 23rd, so she's been with us now for about 2.5 months. I had mentioned all her kittens are gone. And she came in from Thurmont, Powell Road. She was someone's pet. Now, she may have been an indoor-outdoor cat, but just by her disposition, you can see she's been handled, she's been pet. She was not a feral cat that had lived her whole life outside, never handled by a human or anything like that, because she enjoys the companionship of people. When strays come in, we obviously give them a name, so we have no idea what her original name, but we chose to give her the name Hannah. And just like our dogs, we try and give them everything they need for a good start with a new family. So she has been spayed. She's been given her rabies vaccination. We give cats a distemper or a combination vaccination as well. She actually has been tested, like all cats on our adoption floor, for feline leukemia and feline AIDS, and she tested negative for both of those viruses. And then her adopter will also get a Frederick County cat license. A lot of folks in the county don't realize cats are to have a license just like a dog, and that is part of your adoption fee of $97.50. It looks like when she was given her first exam on July 7th, she weighed in at 8 pounds. So she's somewhat of a smaller cat, but at that time she had just finished nursing her kitten. So she probably has put on a little more weight since then. So once again, this little girl's name is Hannah. She's here at the shelter. She's waiting for her forever family, and you can ask to visit with her. Our next guest is Safi. She is a 4-month-old domestic short-hair cat, and she is black and white. Currently, she shares her home with her brother, and they don't necessarily have to be adopted together, but we do encourage, if you want to adopt 2, the perfect time to do it with kittens. We incentivize that somewhat because we'll discount your total adoption fee by $20. Now, Safi's a little bit shy, and it appears to me by looking over her medical that she was previously owned, but from what I'm reading and what I'm looking at, if I had to guess, she was loosely owned. So how we categorize that is people who maybe feed outdoor cats, if they feed them for X amount of time, and we've determined that they've been on that property for that whole time, we consider them the owner of the cat, because it doesn't look like a profile was filled out. So Safi probably came in with her brother and the mother as a loosely owned cat, so we categorize them as being owned cats. They're shy because they probably haven't been handled very much. When she first came in, her and her brother and the mother did go into a foster family to try and give them a little more socialization, handling, so they'd be used to that. Because ultimately our goal is to make her a house cat and have her inside and spend the rest of her life with one family. So this is a good time. Although she's a little shy now, she's still at that point in her life where she can become a companion cat. So that's our goal for her, by doing little things like this, having her on the TV and having Randy interacting with her. She went on a radio outing this past week where I handled her for a while. Putting her in a foster family where people interact with her in a normal household environment. All help round her and make her a little bit more of a house cat as opposed to solely an outdoor cat. It looks like she's been with us since July 25th. When she came in, we gave her all the treatments that cats receive. She was dewormed and routine vaccinations to protect her. Currently, like I said, she's living with her brother. I did mention that they don't have to go together, but we enjoy seeing that. Her adoption fee, just like adult cats, is $97.50. And at this point, it looks like she's ready to go home. When she first came back, she only weighed 2 pounds, 14 ounces. I don't have a current weight, but what happens is we wait until kittens are 3 pounds before they're spayed. So she's over that 3-pound weight, and she's ready to be spayed, go home with her new family. So once again, her name is Safi. She's looking for a home that'll have a little bit of patience with her, but over time she will become accustomed to her new family and part of that family. Come and visit her here at the shelter. This pretty girl's name is Coco. She's 5 years old. She's a domestic short hair, and she is dilute tortie in color. It's not truly a color, tortoiseshell, it's more of a pattern, but that pattern color is always a female cat. So if you see a cat that has the browns, the blacks, some white, that is typically a female, it is always a female cat. According to our vet notes, it looks like she is a little bit overweight. I think our vet, Dr. Sharon Thomas, recommended that she loses about 2 pounds, I read somewhere. So, you know, and that's something someone can work on, obviously a feeding plan to slim her down a little bit. Coco came to us as a previously owned cat, and it looks like her previous owner gave her up because they became seriously allergic. Over time, I know people's body chemistries can change and they can become allergic to cats or other animals or grasses, things like that. And it sounds like the person who owned her did try and deal with it, but they became so allergic that it became hard for them to breathe. So we do understand at times that happens, and we do ask that if for some reason you adopt an animal from us and you can no longer keep it, that you bring it back to us. We will always take animals back that have been adopted from our facility. They did say that she did not live with other animals, so we have no history there if she gets along with dogs or cats. They said she lived with kids of all ages, but she tends to run away from loud children. So, and that's a lot of cats. When you introduce them to new people, new environments, they can be a little hesitant, a little scared. We see it every day here at the shelter. We'll move a cat to the adoption floor. It's very timid, it's very shy, it's scared, and it tends to hide in its cage. You come back the next week, the cat's out and about. It's not necessarily at the front, but it's a little more bold, it's a little more brazen. You return a third week, the cat's at the front of the cage, it's reaching out for visitors. And what happens is, slowly over time, the cat becomes accustomed to the shelter environment, the shelter routine, the different people handling them, and they become, like I said, comfortable with that. And that also happens in homes. When you take a new cat at home, it may hide the first day. Over time, it becomes accustomed to its new family, the new routine, and obviously wants to spend more time with its new family members. So no matter if you have pets or you don't have pets, Coco may be a good option for you. So once again, Coco is a 5-year-old domestic short hair, and she's been waiting at the shelter since June 22nd, looking for a new home. This pretty little girl's name is Gemma. She's about 5 months old, and believe it or not, she is a domestic medium hair cat. Why it does not appear that way is because we shaved her down. She originally arrived at the shelter as a stray with another cat. The other cat had wounds of unknown origin, and Gemma had no bite marks or anything like that. But what she did have was intestinal parasites, lice. The vet notes say that she was unthrifty. She had very little muscle mass. So she was a cat that was living outside, just in really bad shape. The other part of the vet notes with all the unthriftiness and the little muscle mass says purring loudly. So what we saw was a cat that had a lot of potential but came to us in really poor shape. So we medicated her in her sick room. She was moved to the sick room, and we determined what her health needs were. And one of the first things we found was that she had lice. And like I said, she had intestinal parasites, so on and so forth. So we started her on a plan to make her better and make her adoptable because of her great attitude, her great personality. And that just shows with Randy holding her and her interacting and wanting the attention from people. So part of that process included shaving her down, giving her lice bath, treating her for several weeks in our sick room. And now at the end of the month of treatment, she arrived on about August 7th. She is on our adoption floor and ready for a new home. In her cage, you open the door, she comes right to you. She is going to make someone a great cat. And like I said, how you see her now is not how she'll be forever. You know, her tail, her whole body will obviously grow all the fur back. So we're hoping someone comes forward, a great family, and takes her home. Her name, Gemma, actually has quite a great story to it as well. Many of you know we have a Facebook page, and if you were not aware, obviously you can like us on Facebook, and it's a great way to follow the pets here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. We put pet pals up there each week for people to watch it online as well. And when she came in, like I said, we knew she was a great cat, so she came in with no name, so we put it out to our Facebook fans what her name should be, and overwhelmingly a lot of people said Gemma because Little Precious Stone was a fitting name for her, so that's how she came about with her name. Our last guest is Vixen. She's a 3-year-old domestic short hair. And Randy and I learned quite a bit about Vixen here in the last couple moments here. We learned that she can hold up her end of the conversation. She's a vocal cat, and she doesn't prefer carriers. So if you were someone that was interested in an adopter, you may want to try and find a top-load carrier. But who can really blame her? A lot of cats don't like to go into the enclosed space, the confined space. So she finally came out, and she's actually doing pretty good on Randy's lap. She's still looking around the room, exploring the new environment. Sometimes change can obviously be hard for cats. She's that classic brown tabby, and she does have the M mark in the middle of her forehead, so she's a beautiful cat. She weighs in at 13 pounds, about 9 ounces, so she's a little bit overweight. She could stand to lose a few pounds. And sometimes living at the shelter, cats can put on a little weight because we're housing them mainly in cages and they're not getting quite as much exercise. So often when they go into a new home and they can be more mobile and walk around, they usually will shed a few ounces, a little bit of weight, which can help with that. Also, a good feeding plan to reduce cats' weights can help as well. She was previously owned, and it looks like they decided to turn her in because she was not getting along with other cats in the house. Now, there is also a new note that recently they had just adopted new kittens. So it's really unfortunate that, you know, a person decided to take new kittens in who are cute and cuddly and want to play, and then the older cat that had been there for 2.5 years wasn't adapting quite fast enough, and they decided to turn her in. It looks like they owned her for 2.5 years, and I had said she's about 3, so they had gotten her when she was a young cat as well. And they did get her from our shelter, so she's another what we call return to shelter. Like I said with an earlier cat, it doesn't mean she can't cohabitate with other cats. It may just mean that you need to take your time and move slowly and allow them to maybe not live together for the first few weeks or the first month. And, you know, establishing a relationship between doors sometimes can be helpful to introduce cats. Taking a towel and rubbing it on one cat and giving it to the new cat so they can smell the new cat. At times, relationships with cats don't go well when you try and force the situation. That's typically when it can backfire, that they'll want to hiss at each other, or some cats will start to have litter box issues that they'll start eliminating outside the litter box. That's our show for this week. We featured 5 cats and 5 dogs that are available for adoption at the shelter. But of course, there's many, many more. So if you didn't see something you're interested in adopting, it's always a wise choice to stop by the shelter and visit us. Our facility is open 6 days a week to the public. We are open Monday, Tuesdays, and Fridays 10 to 5, Wednesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 8 at night, and then Saturdays 10 to 4. Thanks for watching this week's show, and we'll see you next week.